All right. So this shot is kind of like two shots, but I think I'm curious to get your take on this. I saw this on Facebook from two different Facebook groups because I try to be part of every biathlon Facebook group that I can be because I just want to get the reaction and the feeling from the fans. But the question now is, who does Norway bring to Le Grand Bernard for men? Because they announced before the season that they're just going straight off results. They're going, if you were the worst performer in this World Cup, you're down. The best performer from the IBU Cup is up. And they just have too much depth to not go that way. I mean, the worst performer probably was Christensen. Maybe it was Tarjei Bo. I think you have to kind of go through and do the math to see who was actually the worst. Uldal crushed. I mean, he was like 7th and 6th place like every race. So it's really hard to justify putting him back down to the IBU Cup. So let's discuss that. But also on the women's side, for France actually has a ton of depth right now. They're crushing it on the IBU Cup. And the question also arose, who do you bring for the French women? So let's go back to the men. We'll start there. You have 6 start spots, Ethan, and you're the Norwegian coach. Who are you bringing to Le Grand Bernard?
I mean, obviously, Johannes Lagerud. I think Stransheim and Sorum are, have their tickets booked already because they're both in the top 8 of the overall. I think you have to keep Uldal on there.
Really?
I mean, he was the 3rd or 4th best Norwegian this weekend in his first World Cup races of the year, getting called up from the IBU Cup. So maybe you could say it was a best case scenario, but it's not like he crushed it in the sprint and then blew up in the pursuit. Like, he backed it up and was kind of like duking it out with Samuelson the whole time. And I was just kind of waiting for him to fall off, crack a little bit, but kind of stayed right there with Samuelson, which was really impressive. And I think Christensen is, like you said, definitely the one in the hot seat right now. And if they're going based off what they have said in terms of results from every weekend, the lowest gets sent down. Like, that's clearly Christensen, in my opinion, from this weekend. But do you bring Dale back up? Do you bring Botten up? Like, who are you bringing up to replace him when Christensen has been, one of the anchors and the staples of this Norwegian team for the past couple of years?
I know, and I mean that's a tough look if you're Dale, Christensen, even Tarjei. Like, getting sent to the IBU Cup is rough, but like just based on points earned on this World Cup. Let's see if I can. Here we go. So based on just points earned, Tarjei 17 points and 31 points. And so that was definitely better than Christian's 1 point for coming 39th or 40th in the sprint. He did have a really good pursuit, but just was not able to earn good enough points. But then, you look down here at Uldal, he's only got 2 races. He's got 91 points, which is way higher than both of these guys. So, man, I don't know. Like, I think I like the team that you named there. I like, unfortunately, sending Christensen down, and then you have Christensen, Dale, Isak Frey, Sivert Bakken is back on the IBU Cup. Who's a couple other names that people would know, like Mats Overby. I think you unfortunately, you got to put Dale and Christensen up against those guys on the IBU Cup, and then from there, hopefully it can also just shake out a little bit smoother where it's, okay, bad one, go down, good one, go up. Unfortunately, I think Tarjei Bo is next on the chopping block. And I mean, he's my favorite. I'm not going to lie. He's my favorite. He has been since I was a kid. And seeing him in this hot seat, it breaks my heart a little bit. I kind of want to be like, dude, you should have retired last year, man. Hey, there's still a chance. I'm just saying. I think he wants to try to go to the Olympics next year, but I mean, you could go home for Christmas and then announce in January, yeah, my family and I talked it over. We decided we're going to retire effective immediately. And that would make a lot of people, I think that would make a lot of people happy. Of course, he doesn't have his sort of farewell tour where everyone gets to say goodbye to him because he's such a friendly character that I'm sure a lot of people would miss if he just didn't show up after Christmas. But yeah, it's so tough seeing him in the hot seat, and you just kind of wish you were like, dude, last year you finished second overall at how old is he? Like 37 or no, he's not that old, but 36. Oh, so yeah, he is almost 37. He finished second overall at 36. You could have just been like, dude, just hang it up, man. Is it going to get any better than that? Because right now you're looking like you're going to the IBU Cup if you don't. And it's not like you didn't know this was coming. I mean, Norway has been so deep the last couple seasons, but it's tough. But I like the team that you named. I think you got to keep Uldal up there. And I mean, if you're going to keep Uldal up there, I think that means Isak Fry is coming next because Isak and Uldal were going head to head at the IBU Cup in the first two races, the first 2 weekends. And those guys are strong, man. They are so strong. And it just, I feel for them having to be stuck on the IBU Cup, so to speak. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. There was also, I saw a rumor or a report that basically Uldal already told the media that when he was selected for Hochfilzen, he told the media that they told him he's only coming for Hochfilzen and going back down to Obertiliac is coming up this weekend. So we'll see if they hold to that. But with his 2 basically flower ceremony performances, I think he had, we'll see if that changes or anything. But we'll see. Glad I'm not in charge of making this decision because at least, I mean, maybe it's different in Norway, but at least in the US, like this is so hard to make this decision because there's so much discretion involved. In Norway, maybe you can get away with a little bit more of like, nope, this is what we're doing, and everyone just has to deal with it. So, but okay, let's go over to the women's side. I saw the same question basically for the women. You have 6 start spots for France. Who do you bring to Le Grand Bernat? Because and we didn't even talk about this, but Janine Richard actually did she get disqualified or? Like she broke the rule. She fired 6 shots in the sprint, I believe it was, in one of the shooting stages. And the jury decided that there was no advantage for this, which kind of blows my mind because I'm like, that's a pretty clear safety violation. And regardless of whether or not she had an advantage or not, I think she should have been disqualified. But, she's from France. And so she didn't get disqualified, but she was in 35th. So I'm not really sure what the heck happened. I'll have to read more about it, but people were upset about that because she did break the rule, but no consequences apparently. But yeah, who do you take to Le Grand Bernat for France?
I think the French women's team might be a little not easier than the men's, but they've all kind of been racing on the World Cup so far this year. Oh, did Brian leave? Brian?
Oh, sorry, I'm still here. I just got to change the battery on my camera.
Okay.
Keep going.
Like I said, I think the French women's team might be a little easier than the Norwegian men's just because they have all been racing against each other on the World Cup for, the past 2 weekends. I think the person who threw a wrench in their decisions was Sophie Chavot getting 2nd and 11th in the sprint pursuit this weekend. But compared to how she did in Conti-Lati, that's a pretty massive improvement. And if you're starting a pursuit 2nd, there's not much room to go up, but there's a lot of opportunity to go down the ranks, and she didn't fall too far, finishing in 11th. But I think these bigger nations that have so much depth have to be so cutthroat and be like, for this weekend, whoever had the worst performances, it's still early in the year, so maybe they can add in a little bit of how Conti-Lati went. But they have to be so cutthroat in deciding who stays up, who goes down to the IBU Cup, because those IBU Cup athletes can throw down any given weekend, like we saw with Oldal. But
yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I think the one who's throwing the wrench in the system is Ocean Michelin. But because I mean, in my opinion, I think she's like, okay, she's the number 6 on the team, probably could be on the IBU Cup. Like I kind of equate her more with the IBU Cup squad. But the fact that she's in 11th overall with some fantastic performances so far, these are ranks, not points. So 7th place in Kontiolahti, a couple more top 20s in Hawkfieldson. And she's ahead of Justine, who a lot of people had winning the yellow bib at the end of the year. So I think she's the one throwing the wrench in the system. But yeah, I mean, Chavot, 2nd place, you're right, in the sprint really helped her performance as she jumped up a ton after not making or almost not making the pursuit or the mass. Oh, she didn't make the mass start, but just barely getting in the top 60 in the sprint in Kontiolahti. So, okay, who do we have for 6? Obviously, you take Lou, take Julia, you take Justine and Ocean. So that's 4. And then you have 5 and 6, Savo and Richard. I mean, they're pretty clearly up on Gigonot, but Gigonot had a great pursuit. I think she might have had the best isolated pursuit time because she moved up a ton. Okay, so she had the 4th best isolated pursuit time, shooting 1 miss. Like that's impressive, but I think unfortunately not impressive enough. So I guess you take Richard and Chavot. But I also want to see Botte from the IBU Cup come up personally, because she kind of like Isak Fry and Martin Oldal, she's been crushing on the IBU Cup, and she definitely deserves to be on the World Cup. I think not a name. I don't even know if Botte has ever been on the World Cup, if she has any experience. She has 1 race on the World Cup, or 13 races. She appeared in a relay 1 time. So, yeah, a name that not a lot of people know, but on the – I'll share this tab just because we're talking about her. For the IBU Cup this season, look at this. This is just this season right here. 1st, 2nd, 4th. Okay, put a bad individual with bad shooting in Gilo, but then 1st and 3rd again. So she definitely deserves to be on the World Cup if Uldal is basically doing this and coming in the top 10. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely do not envy the people that have to make these decisions.
Yeah, absolutely.